the global implications of the tariff trade war that has now been taken up with the US President Donald Trump on the 2nd of April, which he touted as Liberation Day, now has come to a pause of 90 days when it comes to this announcement that came in on the reciprocal tariffs. Now, big relief, at least for 75 nations, including India, where the US government seems to have backtracked on its decision, at least for now. In a move that can be seen giving a major tariff respite for multiple countries, the Donald Trump administration has decided to impose a 90-day pause on the reciprocal tariffs that the US president announced after the conclusion of the 2nd of April deadline. Now, when it comes to the pause that has been announced for multiple nations, only because they were ready to hold talks and dialogue, and also when it comes to negotiate with the United States of America. However, the only country that has been exempted is China, because China imposed retaliatory tariffs on United States of America, which further led to another round of reciprocal tariffs. Donald Trump says that this is what that led to his decision to pause the steep tariffs briefly on other countries except China.
And we have many other countries, as you know, many more than 75, and they all want to come, and they want to come here, or they'll go to Commerce, or they'll go to Treasury. We have our great senators here and congressmen. They'll call John, they'll do somebody, they'll go through somebody, but they're all calling, how do we do this? They all want to make a deal. Somebody had to do what we did, and I did a 90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate, because I told them, if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China, because they did retaliate. So we'll see how it all works out. I think it's going to work out amazing. I think that our country is going to be at the end of a year or shorter, but I think we're going to have something that nobody would have dreamt possible. A man like Roger Penske, I don't want to get him in trouble with China, so I won't, but he would know that you have to, someday you have to cut the bow and you have to do what you have to do, right, Roger?
But on the one hand, about the 75 nations that have been given a temporary respite from the tariffs by Trump administration, one country that didn't manage to make the cut was China. Let's remind you, when it comes to the significant decisions Donald Trump has taken in the last 24 hours alone, and this could spell more trouble for Beijing, at least, because the back and forth that we are seeing, this is when it comes to the battle of seesaw that seems to be played between the US and the Chinese administration. Decision 1, tariffs that has been paused for 75 nations for 90 days at least, when this pause that has now been announced. However, when it comes to the universal, the base 10% tariff will continue to be levied on the 75 nations. Only reciprocal tariff which will remain on China to continue, because China decided to retaliate, and it has now gone up to staggering 125%, with the reciprocal tariff on China that has now been taken up to 125%. Now let's talk about, as far as the Chinese are concerned, the tariff hike that has gone up further from the already astounding 104% to 125%, as we showed you, on all imports that are coming in from China. And this has been the back and forth that has now been done on part of the United States of America as well, saying that except China, because it decided to retaliate, respite will be coming in for at least 90 days for other 75 countries.
Well, I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, you know, they were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid, unlike these champions, because we have a big job to do. No other president would have done what I did. No other president. I know the presidents, they wouldn't have done it. And it had to be done. What was happening to us on trade, not only with, you know, if you look at it, not only with China, but China was by far the biggest abuser in history, and others also, but somebody had to do it. They had to stop, because it was not sustainable. Last year, China made $1 trillion off trade with the United States. That's not right. And now I've reversed it. It's for a short period of time, but we made $2 billion. We're making now $2 billion a day. And somebody had to do it. Roger actually said it. Charles Schwab was here a little while ago, one of the great financial people, and he said he's been waiting for 40 years for somebody to do what I did over the last month. And if you didn't do it, you wouldn't have a country. It wouldn't be sustainable. So I'm honored to have done it. And, you know, look, nothing's over yet, but we have a tremendous amount of spirit from other countries, including China. China wants to make a deal. They just don't know how quite to go about it. You know, it's one of those things they don't know how quite. They're proud people. And President Xi's a proud man. I know him very well, and they don't know quite how to go about it, but they'll figure it out. They're in the process of figuring it out, but they want to make a deal.